Okay, today is the 1st of September 2010, and this is the 43rd time we're speaking on the Majjhima Nikaya Suttas. Now we come to Sutta 105, Sunakkhatta Sutta, to Sunakkhatta. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Vesali in the great wood, in the hall with the peaked roof. Now, on that occasion, a number of monks had declared final knowledge in the presence of the Blessed One thus: we understand, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, what had to be done has been done, there is no more coming to any state of being. Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, heard. A number of monks, it seems, have declared final knowledge in the presence of the Blessed One thus: we understand, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived, etc. There is no more coming to any state of being. Then Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, he sat down at one side and said to the Blessed One, I have heard, Venerable Sir, that a number of monks have declared final knowledge in the presence of the Blessed One. Did they do so rightly, or are there some monks here who declare final knowledge because they overestimate themselves? When those monks, Sunakkhatta, declared final knowledge in my presence, there were some monks who declared final knowledge rightly, and there were some who declared final knowledge because they overestimated themselves. Therein, when monks declare final knowledge rightly, their declaration is true. But when monks declare final knowledge because they overestimate themselves, the Tathagata thinks, let me teach them the Dhamma. Thus it is in this case, Sunakkhatta, that the Tathagata thinks, let me teach them the Dhamma. But some misguided men here formulate a question, come to the Tathagata and ask it. In that case, Sunakkhatta, though the Tathagata has taught, let me teach them the Dhamma, he changes his mind. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, some monks, when they say that they have become liberated, some are actually liberated, but some are not. Of those that are not liberated, the Buddha thinks of teaching them further. But some of them, they are not humble enough, and they come to ask the Buddha a question, probably to debate with the Buddha or to test the Buddha So the Buddha changes his mind about teaching them the Dhamma. And Sunakkhatta said, this is the time, Blessed One, this is the time, Sublime One, for the Blessed One to teach the Dhamma. Having heard it from the Blessed One, the monks will remember it. Then listen, Sunakkhatta, and attend closely to what I shall say. Yes, Venerable Sir, Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, replied to the Blessed One. The Blessed One said, there are, Sunakkhatta, these 5 chords of sensual pleasure. What are the 5? Forms cognizable by the eye that are wished for, desired, agreeable and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. Sounds cognizable by the ear, odors cognizable by the nose, flavors cognizable by the tongue, tangibles cognizable by the body that are wished for, desired, agreeable and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. These are the 5 chords of sensual pleasure. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on worldly material things. When a person is intent on worldly material things, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the imperturbable is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, a man had left his own village or town a long time ago, and he were to see another man who had only recently left that town or village. He would ask that man whether the people of that village or town were safe, prosperous and healthy. And that man would tell him whether the people of that village or town were safe, prosperous and healthy. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Would that first man listen to him, give him ear, and exert his mind to understand? Yes, Venerable Sir. So too, Sunakkhatta, it is possible that some person here may be intent on worldly material things. When a person is intent on worldly material things, he does not find satisfaction through him. He should be understood as a person who is intent on worldly material things. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha is saying that worldly people will only want to talk about worldly things. I want to find other worldly people to talk to. But when you talk to them about states of meditation that are deep and all that, imperturbable, they are not interested. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on the imperturbable. When a person is intent on the imperturbable, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about worldly material things is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Just as a yellow leaf that has fallen from its stalk is incapable of becoming green again, so too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is intent on the imperturbable, he has shed the fetter of worldly material things. He should be understood as a person not bound by the fetter of worldly material things, who is intent on the imperturbable. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on the base of nothingness. When a person is intent on the base of nothingness, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the imperturbable is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Just as a thick stone that has split in two cannot be joined together again, so too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is intent on the base of nothingness, this fetter of the imperturbable has been split. He should be understood as a person not bound by the fetter of the imperturbable, who is intent on the base of nothingness. Stop here for a moment. Normally when we talk on the imperturbable, we mean the fourth jhana and the arupas or arupa jhanas. But here you can see this imperturbable here refers to the fourth jhana, the base of boundless space and the base of boundless consciousness. So the Buddha separates the base of nothingness and later the base of neither perception nor non-separation or non-perception from the former. So in this sutta, the imperturbable refers to the fourth jhana, the fourth rupa jhana, the base of boundless space and the base of boundless consciousness. So when we compare to the earlier section, if a person has attained to the fourth jhana, then he is no more interested in the worldly material things. So here section 10 talks about the person intent on the imperturbable, one who has attained the fourth jhana or the base of boundless space or boundless consciousness. Is no more interested in the worldly material things, because the bliss of the fourth jhana is so, so high that he derives so much happiness and pleasure in the fourth jhana that worldly material things is nothing compared to this bliss of the fourth jhana. So he's no more interested. So you can see from here, and that's why when you compare it with some other sutta, it's Majjhima Nikaya 14, where Mahanama came to ask the Buddha. He said, Bhagava, although he understands the Dhamma, he says, in spite of having understood the Dhamma, he says sometimes this greed, hatred, and delusion still overcomes him. And then he asked the Buddha whether he has not developed something, he has not attained something. And the Buddha said yes. The Buddha says he has not attained the piti and sukha that is secluded from sensual pleasures and secluded from unwholesome states. That means he has not attained one-pointedness of mind, jhana. So what the Buddha means is that if a person has attained jhana, the bliss is so high, is no more interested in worldly material things. And here, especially the fourth jhana, the imperturbable, is so, the bliss is so much higher than worldly pleasures or sensual pleasures that if a person has attained the fourth jhana, is utterly no more interested in worldly material things. And then after that, on section 12, the Buddha says, if a person has attained the base of nothingness, is even higher, then he's also no more interested in the imperturbable. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception. When a person is intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the base of nothingness is going on, he will not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Suppose a person has eaten some delicious food and thrown it up. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Could that man have any desire to eat that food again? No, Venerable Sir. Why is that? Because that food is considered repulsive. So too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception, his factor of the base of nothingness has been rejected. He should be understood as a person not bound by the factor of the base of nothingness, who is intent on the base of neither perception nor non-perception. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some person here may be completely intent on Nibbana. When a person is completely intent on Nibbana, only talk concerning that interests him, and his thinking and pondering are in line with that. And he associates with that kind of person, and he finds satisfaction through him. But when talk about the base of neither perception nor non-perception is going on, he would not listen to it, or give it ear, or exert his mind to understand it. He does not associate with that kind of person, and he does not find satisfaction through him. Just as a palm tree with its top cut off is incapable of growing again, so too, Sunakkhatta, when a person is completely intent on Nibbana, his factor of the base of neither perception nor non-perception has been cut off at the root, made like a palm stump, done away with, so that it is no longer subject to future arising. He should be understood as a person not bound by the factor of the base of neither perception nor non-perception, who is completely intent on Nibbana. Stop here for a moment. So here, if a person has attained the base of neither perception nor non-perception, at that point, the consciousness is wavering. It's almost like a flame going to die off. Sometimes he's percipient, sometimes he's not percipient. So that is a very high state. And when he has achieved that state, lower states he is no more interested. But then the final one, intent on Nibbana, probably refers to the cessation of perception and feeling. When a person attains the cessation of perception and feeling, consciousness also stops. And the Buddha says that is the highest bliss. Nibbana paramang sukhang. So this cessation of perception and feeling is that state where the sixth consciousness stops. And when the sixth consciousness stops, that the Buddha says that's the highest bliss. It's similar to the state of parinibbana. It is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some monk here might think thus: craving has been called an arrow by the recluse, that is the Buddha. The poisonous humor of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. The arrow of craving has been removed from me. The poisonous humor of ignorance has been expelled. I am one who is completely intent on Nibbana. Because he falsely thinks of himself thus, he might pursue those things that are unsuitable for one completely intent on Nibbana. He might pursue the sight of unsuitable forms with the eye. He might pursue unsuitable sounds with the ear, unsuitable odors with the nose, unsuitable flavors with the tongue, unsuitable tangibles with the body, or unsuitable mind objects with the mind. When he pursues the sight of unsuitable forms with the eye, etc., lust invades his mind. With his mind invaded by lust, he would incur death or deadly suffering. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, a man were wounded by an arrow, thickly smeared with poison, and his friends and companions, his kinsmen and relatives brought a surgeon. The surgeon would cut around the opening of the wound with a knife, and he would probe for the arrow with a probe. Then he would pull out the arrow and would expel the poisonous humor, leaving a trace of it behind. Knowing that a trace was left behind, he would say, "Good man, the arrow has been pulled out from you. The poisonous humor has been expelled, with a trace left behind. But it is incapable of harming you. Eat only suitable food. Do not eat unsuitable food, or else the wound would suppurate. From time to time wash the wound, and from time to time anoint its opening, so that pus and blood do not cover the opening of the wound. Do not walk around in the wind and sun, or else dust and dirt may infect the opening of the wound. Take care of your wound, good man, and see to it that the wound heals." The man would think, "The arrow has been pulled out from me, the poisonous humor has been expelled with no trace left behind, and it is incapable of harming me." He would eat unsuitable food, and the wound would suppurate. He would not wash the wound from time to time, nor would he anoint its opening from time to time, and pus and blood would cover the opening of the wound. He would walk around in the wind and sun, and the dust and dirt would infect the opening of the wound. He would not take care of his wound, nor would he see to it that the wound heals. Then, both because he does what is unsuitable, and because the foul, poisonous humor had been expelled with a trace left behind, the wound would swell, and with its swelling he would incur death or deadly suffering. So too, Sunakkhatta, it is possible that some monk here might think, craving has been called an arrow by the recluse. The poisonous humor of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. That arrow of craving has been removed from me. The poisonous humor of ignorance has been expelled. I am completely intent upon Nibbana. Because he falsely thinks of himself thus, he might pursue those things that are unsuitable for one completely intent on Nibbana, etc. With his mind invaded by lust, he would incur death or deadly suffering. For it is death in the discipline of the noble one, Sunakkhatta, when one abandons the craving and reverts to the lower life. And it is deadly suffering when one commits some defiled offense. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, sometimes a monk, he overestimates himself. He thinks he has no more craving. He has let go of everything. But he has not. Just like the wound, there is still some humor of this, what do you call it? Poisonous humor, some poisonous liquid is still left there. So in the same way, when a monk overestimates himself, he thinks he has eliminated craving, but there's still some craving in him. So just as the wound may, the wound would suppurate, the wound would get worse. Pus and blood would form. So in the same way, if he's not careful, he doesn't watch his sixth sense doors, then he looks at unsuitable sights, hears unsuitable sounds, etc. And then he would be invaded by lust. Lust invades his mind, and then either he would disrobe or he would commit some heavy offense, break some major precept. So that is death or deadly suffering. So sometimes it's very easy for a monk to overestimate himself. Even when a person just goes forth, sometimes he thinks, oh, he has let go already. He has only let go on the outside, but the inside is difficult to remove. The attachment inside, especially like a monk has just gone forth. The Buddha says this tie, the family tie, is extremely strong. This family tie is stronger than iron chains. Iron chains is nothing compared to this attachment, family attachment. So for a monk, the first few years, it's very important that he completely cut off, sever this family ties. Otherwise, he is still chained by this attachment, family attachment. That's why when a person intends to go forth, it is good to go forth in a foreign country. Just like last time when I went forth in America, there's a lot of suffering, but because you're so far from home, there's just no chance to go back. Okay, it is possible, Sunakkhatta, that some monk here might think that craving has been called an arrow by the recluse. The poisonous humor of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. That arrow of craving has been removed from me. The poisonous humor of ignorance has been expelled. I am one who is completely intent on Nibbana. Being one who really is completely intent on Nibbana, he would not pursue those things that are unsuitable for one, completely intent on Nibbana. He would not pursue the sight of unsuitable forms with the eye. He would not pursue unsuitable sounds with the ear, unsuitable odors with the nose, unsuitable flavors with the tongue, unsuitable tangibles with the body, or unsuitable mind objects with the mind. Because he does not pursue the sight of unsuitable forms, etc., lust does not invade his mind. Because his mind is not invaded by lust, he would not incur death or deadly suffering. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, a man were wounded by an arrow, thickly smeared with poison, and his friends and companions, kinsmen and relatives, brought a surgeon. The surgeon would cut around the opening of the wound with a knife. Then he would probe for the arrow with a probe. Then he would pull out the arrow and would expel the poisonous humor without leaving a trace of it behind. Knowing that no trace was left behind, he would say, "Good man, the arrow has been pulled out from you. The poisonous humor has been expelled with no trace left behind, and it is incapable of harming you. Eat only suitable food. Do not eat unsuitable food, or else the wound may suppurate. From time to time, wash the wound, and from time to time anoint its opening, so that pus and blood do not cover the opening of the wound. Do not walk around in the wind and sun, or else dust and dirt may infect the opening of the wound. Take care of your wound, good man, and see to it that the wound heals." The man would think, "The arrow has been pulled out from me, the poisonous humor has been expelled with no trace left behind, and it is incapable of harming me." He would eat only suitable food, and the wound would not suppurate. From time to time he would wash the wound, and from time to time he would anoint its opening, and pus and blood would not cover the opening of the wound. He would not walk around in the wind and sun, and dust and dirt would not infect the opening of the wound. He would take care of his wound and would see to it that the wound heals. Then both because he does what is suitable and because the foul poisonous humor has been expelled with no trace left behind, the wound would heal. And because it had healed and was covered with skin, he would not incur death or deadly suffering. So too, Sunakkhatta, it is possible that some monks here might think thus: craving has been called an arrow by the recluse. The poisonous humor of ignorance is spread about by desire, lust and ill will. That arrow of craving has been pulled out from me. The poisonous humor of ignorance has been expelled. I am one who is completely intent on Nibbana. Being one who really is completely intent on Nibbana, he would not pursue those things unsuitable for one completely intent on Nibbana, etc. And because his mind is not invaded by lust, he would not incur death or deadly suffering. So, here the Buddha gives the instance of a person who has finished his job. He has expelled completely ignorance and craving. But even then, he would not go and look at unsuitable forms, he would not hear unsuitable sounds, etc. Also because he has no more interest. But then you see, before a person can be completely intent on Nibbana, he must pass through the various stages. He must attain the Imperturbable first, the fourth Jhana, the base of neither, at least the fourth Jhana, and if possible the base of boundless space and boundless consciousness. And there are some arahants who attain these arupas, there are some arahants who do not attain these arupas. But to have completed the work, a monk would need at least the fourth rupa jhana. In which case he would not be interested anymore in worldly things, in sight, sound, smell, taste and touch. Sunakkhatta, I have given this simile in order to convey a meaning. This is the meaning here. Wound is a term for the 6 internal bases. That means the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, body and mind. Poisonous humor is a term for ignorance. Arrow is a term for craving. Probe is a term for mindfulness or recollection. Knife is a term for noble wisdom. Surgeon is a term for the Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha. When Sunakkhatta, a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment, liberated by the destruction of attachment, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, there were a bronze cup of beverage possessing a good color, smell and taste, but it was mixed with poison, and a man came who wanted to live, not to die, who wanted pleasure and recoiled from pain. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Would that man drink that cup of beverage, knowing, if I drink this, I will incur death or deadly suffering? No, Venerable Sir. So too, when a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment, liberated by the destruction of attachment, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. Suppose, Sunakkhatta, there were a deadly poisonous snake, and a man came who wanted to live, not to die, who wanted pleasure and recoiled from pain. What do you think, Sunakkhatta? Would that man give that deadly poisonous snake his hand or his thumb, knowing, if I am bitten by him, I will incur death or deadly suffering? No, Venerable Sir. So too, when a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment, liberated by the destruction of attachment, it is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. That is what the Blessed One said. Sunakkhatta, son of the Lichavis, was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. That's the end of the sutta. So here you can see the Buddha is saying that any object of attachment is like a poisonous drink or a venomous snake. So the Buddha says that when a monk practices restraint in the 6 bases of contact, and having understood that attachment is the root of suffering, is without attachment and liberated It is not possible that he would direct his body or arouse his mind towards any object of attachment. This contradicts the later teachings found in the Mahayana and this Tibetan school. In the Mahayana, like for example, Vimalakirti Sutra, where they say the Bodhisattva enjoys socializing and a worldly life, and yet he is supposed to be higher than the Arahant. And in the Tibetan teachings, they say that the enlightened person can still engage in this what they call Tantric Buddhism, where the master can have sex with the disciple. This is completely contradictory to the early Dhamma found in the suttas. It's not possible that in some other sutta it is mentioned that an Arahant, it's not possible for an Arahant to purposely kill, to steal, to engage in sexual intercourse, to lie or cheat people. It's not possible. And even do anything wrong because of greed, hatred, or delusion, or fear. So this sutta is very good because sometimes we overestimate ourselves if you are on the spiritual path. So whether we have finished the job or not, this sutta cautions us not to to be very cautious in the six sense bases, not to see unsuitable sights, not to hear unsuitable sounds, etc. Now we come to Sutta 106, Aninja Sappaya Sutta, the way to the imperturbable. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living in the Kuru country at a town of the Kurus named Kamasadhamma. There the Blessed One addressed the monks thus, "Monks, Venerable Sir," they replied. The Blessed One said, "Monks, sensual pleasures are impermanent, hollow, false, deceptive. They are illusory, the prattle of fools. Sensual pleasures here and now, and sensual pleasures in lives to come. Sensual perceptions here and now, and sensual perceptions in lives to come. Both alike are Mara's realm, Mara's domain, Mara's bait, Mara's hunting ground. On account of them, these evil, unwholesome mental states, such as covetousness, ill will, and presumption arise. They constitute an obstruction to a noble disciple in training here." Stop here for a moment. So here you see the Buddha's attitude towards sensual pleasures is very clear here. The Buddha says, anybody talking about sensual pleasures is a prattle of fools. And sensual pleasures are Mara's realm, Mara's domain, Mara's bait, Mara's hunting ground. And it's because of sensual desire, sensual pleasures, that evil, unwholesome states arise. Also, when we enjoy sensual pleasures, there is this tendency to lust, to crave for it. We have read some other sutta where the Buddha says it is impossible to enjoy sensual pleasures without the tendency to lust for it, to crave for it. If you enjoy it, then you have the tendency to lust, to crave for it. So also the Buddha says sensual perceptions, also the same thing. There's this tendency to crave for it. So a person on the spiritual path, he stays far away from sensual pleasures. Also, if you remember, when we talked about the 12 links of dependent origination, the 12 links that leads to suffering, the origin of suffering, it is stated that being arises, the perception I am or I exist, the ego arises when there is craving and attachment. When you have craving and attachment, the ego arises. I want this, I cannot do without this, I cannot live without this, and all this. So that's why here it says, on account of sensual pleasures, all the evil, unwholesome mental states arise. Okay, to continue. Therein monks, a noble disciple considers thus, sensual pleasures here and now, and sensual pleasures in lives to come, etc., constitute an obstruction to a noble disciple in training here. Suppose I were to abide with a mind abundant and exalted, having transcended the world and made a firm resolution with the mind. When I do so, there will be no more evil, unwholesome mental states such as covetousness, ill will, and presumption in me, and with the abandoning of them, my mind will be unlimited, immeasurable, and well developed. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is confidence, he either attains to the imperturbable now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. On the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his leading to rebirth may pass on to rebirth in the imperturbable. This, monks, is declared to be the first way directed to the imperturbable. So here, as we mentioned before, the imperturbable refers to the fourth jhana and the arupa jhanas. But here, since it is mentioned, my mind will be unlimited, immeasurable, and well developed. So it refers more to the arupas. Although the commentary says this only refers to the fourth jhana, but it could well refer to the arupas, more likely. Again, monks. So here, this noble disciple, that means this monk, he frequently attains this imperturbable state. That means the fourth jhana and the higher jhanas, the arupas, and he acquires confidence in this base. That means he is very familiar with this fourth jhana or the arupas, and so on passing away, either he is reborn in the imperturbable, those formless realms, or if he decides upon perfecting wisdom, that means if he decides to become an arahant, to become liberated, then he doesn't go for rebirth. Again, monks, a noble disciple considers thus, there are sensual pleasures here and now, and sensual pleasures in lives to come, sensual perceptions here and now, and sensual perceptions in lives to come. Whatever material form there is, all material form is the four great elements, and the material form derived from the four great elements. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is full confidence, he either attains to the imperturbable now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. On the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his leading to rebirth may pass on to rebirth in the imperturbable. This, monks, is declared to be the second way directed to the imperturbable. Again, monks, a noble disciple considers thus, sensual pleasures here and now, and sensual pleasures in lives to come, sensual perceptions here and now, and sensual perceptions in lives to come, material forms here and now, and material forms in lives to come, perceptions of forms here and now, and perceptions of forms in lives to come. Both alike are impermanent. What is impermanent is not worth delighting in, not worth welcoming, not worth holding to. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is full confidence, he either attains to the imperturbable now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. On the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his leading to rebirth may pass on to rebirth in the imperturbable. This, monks, is declared to be the third way directed to the imperturbable. Again, monks, a noble disciple considers thus: sensual pleasures here and now and sensual pleasures in lives to come, sensual perceptions here and now and sensual perceptions in lives to come, material forms here and now and material forms in lives to come, perceptions of forms here and now and perceptions of forms in lives to come, and perceptions of the imperturbable. All are perceptions. Where these perceptions cease without remainder, that is the peaceful, that is the sublime, namely the base of nothingness. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is full confidence, he either attains to the base of nothingness now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. On the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his, leading to rebirth, may pass on to rebirth in the base of nothingness. This, monks, is declared to be the first way directed to the base of nothingness. Again, monks, a noble disciple gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut considers thus: this is void of a self or of what belongs to a self. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is full confidence, he either attains to the base of nothingness now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. On the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his, leading to rebirth, may pass on to rebirth in the base of nothingness. This, monks, is declared to be the second way directed to the base of nothingness. Again, monks, a noble disciple considers thus: I am not anything belonging to anyone anywhere, nor is there anything belonging to me in anyone anywhere. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is full confidence, he either attains to the base of nothingness now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. On the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his, leading to rebirth, may pass on to rebirth in the base of nothingness. This, monks, is declared to be the third way directed to the base of nothingness. Stop here for a moment. So here, the Buddha is talking about a noble disciple who frequently enters this base of nothingness. In this base of nothingness, he feels that this is, as mentioned in section 7, this is void of a self, or what belongs to a self. He realizes in this state that there is no self. Everything is empty. So also in section 6 he says, where these perceptions cease without remainder, that is the peaceful, that is the sublime, namely the base of nothingness. But actually in the Digha Nikaya Sutta number 9.16, it is said there is still in this base of nothingness there is still a subtle but true perception. There is still a subtle perception. It's not that there is totally no perception. There is still a subtle perception. So here, when a person attains this base, constantly enters this base and acquires confidence in this base, either he can attain arahanthood when he perfects wisdom, or if not, then he is reborn in the base of nothingness. Again, monks, a noble disciple considers thus: sensual pleasures here and now, and sensual pleasures in lives to come, sensual perceptions here and now, and sensual perceptions in lives to come, material forms here and now, and material forms in lives to come, perceptions of forms here and now, and perceptions of forms in lives to come, perceptions of the imperturbable, and perceptions of the base of nothingness. All are perceptions. Where these perceptions cease without remainder, that is the peaceful, that is the sublime, namely the base of neither perception nor non-perception. When he practices in this way and frequently abides thus, his mind acquires confidence in this base. Once there is full confidence, he either attains to the base of neither perception nor non-perception now, or else he decides upon perfecting wisdom. on the dissolution of the body after death, it is possible that this consciousness of his leading to rebirth may pass on to rebirth in the base of neither perception nor non-perception. This monk is declared to be the way directed to the base of neither perception nor non-perception. Stop here for a moment. So here in the same way, this monk constantly abides in this base of neither perception nor non-perception and acquires confidence in this meditation, then either he becomes an arahant or he's reborn in the base of neither perception nor non-perception, this formless realm. So here, this it's only here that perception ceases without remainder. This base of neither perception or non-perception. Earlier we said that the base of nothingness, there is still a subtle perception, but here the consciousness is about to go off, so there is no perception. When this was said, the Venerable Ananda said to the Blessed One, "Venerable Sir, here a monk is practicing thus. If it were not, it would not be mine. It will not be, and it will not be mine. What exists, what has come to be, that I am abandoning." Thus he obtains equanimity. Venerable Sir, does such a monk attain nibbana? Stop here for a moment. This quotation, if it were not, it would not be mine. It will not be, and it will not be mine. What exists, what has come to be, that I am abandoning. This is from the Khuddaka Nikaya, I think the Sutta Nipata. So the Buddha says, if a monk considers this and he obtains equanimity, one monk here, Ananda, might attain nibbana. Another monk here might not attain nibbana. What is the cause and reason, Venerable Sir, why one monk here might attain nibbana while another monk here might not attain nibbana? Here, Ananda, a monk is practicing thus. If it were not, it would not be mine. It will not be, and it will not be mine. What exists, what has come to be, that I am abandoning. Thus he obtains equanimity. He delights in that equanimity, welcomes it, and remains holding to it. As he does so, his consciousness becomes dependent on it and clings to it. A monk, Ananda, who is affected by clinging, does not attain nibbana. But Venerable Sir, when that monk clings, what does he cling to? To the base of neither perception nor non-perception, Ananda. When that monk clings, Venerable Sir, it seems he clings to the best object of clinging. When that monk clings, Ananda, he clings to the best object of clinging, for this is the best object of clinging, namely the base of neither perception nor non-perception. Here, Ananda, a monk is practicing thus. If it were not, it would not be mine. It will not be, and it will not be mine. What exists, what has come to be, that I am abandoning. Thus he obtains equanimity. He does not delight in that equanimity, welcome it, or remain holding to it. Since he does not do so, his consciousness does not become dependent on it, and he does not cling to it. A monk, Ananda, who is without clinging, attains nibbana. Stop here for a moment. So when a monk understands this, if it were not, it would not be mine. It will not be, and it will not be mine. This is referring to the past. If it were not, it would not be mine. Guess the past person, if it did not exist in the past, I would not now be mine. It will not be, and will not be mine. What exists, what has come to be, that I am abandoning. So this body and this mind, this personality has come from the past. And if this person understands the Dhamma, then he is abandoning this self, this ego. And if he understands it, it attains equanimity. But if a person clings to the equanimity, that means the base of neither perception or non-perception, he does not attain nibbana. But he does not cling to it. The Buddha says he attains nibbana. It is wonderful, Venerable Sir, it is marvelous. The Blessed One indeed has explained to us the crossing of the flood in dependence upon one support or another. But Venerable Sir, what is noble liberation? Here Ananda, a noble disciple, considers thus: sensual pleasures here and now, and sensual pleasures in lives to come; sensual perceptions here and now, and sensual perceptions in lives to come; material forms here and now, and material forms in lives to come; perceptions of forms here and now, and perceptions of forms in lives to come; perceptions of the imperturbable, perceptions of the base of nothingness, and perceptions of the base of neither perception nor non-perception. This is personality as far as personality extends. This is the deathless, namely the liberation of mind through not clinging. Thus, Ananda, I have taught the way directed to the imperturbable. I have taught the way directed to the base of nothingness. I have taught the way directed to the base of neither perception nor non-perception. I have taught the crossing of the flood in dependence upon one support or another. I have taught noble liberation. What should be done for his disciples out of compassion by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them, that I have done for you, Ananda. There are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, Ananda. Do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. That is what the Blessed One said. The Venerable Ananda was satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. It's the end of the sutta. This part about that phrase, let's check what the notes say, 1017. The note 1017 says, according to the commentary, if the round of karma had not been accumulated by me, now there would not be for me the round of results. If the round of karma is not accumulated by me now, in the future there will not be the round of results. What exists, what has come to be, are the five aggregates. The first part of the formula again seems to be a condensed formulation of a view held by non-Buddhists. Several suttas identify as an expression for the annihilationist view adapted by the Buddha with new meanings assigned to it. So here they're talking about karma. Might be, or more likely it's about this personality. If there was not this personality in the past, it would not be mine now. So if you can understand the Dhamma, so you can eliminate this personality, and so it will not be. And it will not be, and it will not be mine. You have no more I, no more mine. What exists, what has come to be, that I am abandoning. This personality that has come to be, I am abandoning. I'm walking the path to abandon it. So instead of the commentary says it's concerning karma, but I don't think it's concerning karma. I think it's concerning the personality. If this personality were not in the past, it would not be mine. And if you can cultivate yourself until you will not be, that means there's no more I, no more self, then it will not be mine. What exists now, what has come to be, that I am abandoning. I am practicing the path to abandoning of this personality. Okay, we go to 107, Ganaka Moggallana Sutta, to Ganaka Moggallana. So anyway, we just recap this last sutta, where the Buddha says that if a monk, he starts off by saying that sensual pleasures are the prattle of fools, also it's Mara's realm, Mara's domain, Mara's bed, Mara's hunting ground, an account of sensual pleasures, all unwholesome states arise, and they constitute an obstruction to a noble disciple in training. After that, the Buddha talks about how to attain the imperturbable, the mystery reborn in the realm of the imperturbable, either the fourth jhana or the base of boundless space or the base of boundless consciousness. If a monk wants to be reborn there, he must constantly abide in this state of the imperturbable and acquire confidence in it. So either he is reborn there, or if he directs it to knowledge, then he becomes liberated. And similarly for the base of nothingness and the base of neither perception or non-perception. And for Nibbana, the Buddha says you must not cling to anything. Does not cling to anything, then he can attain Nibbana. Okay, we go to Sutta 107, Ganaka Moggallana Sutta, 2 Ganaka Moggallana. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in the eastern park in the palace of Megara's mother. Then the Brahmin, Ganaka Moggallana, went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and said to the Blessed One, Master Gautama, in this palace of Megara's mother, there can be seen gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress, that is down to the last step of the staircase. Among these Brahmins too, there can be seen gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress, that is in study. Among archers too, there can be seen gradual training, that is in archery. Among accountants like us who earn our living by accountancy, there can be seen gradual training, that is in computation. For when we get an apprentice, first we make him count 1, 1, 2 2s, 3 3s, 4 4s, 5 5s, 6 6s, 7 7s, 8 8s, 9 9s, 10 10s, and we make him count 100 too. Now, is it possible, Master Gotama, to describe gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress in this Dhamma Vinaya? I'll stop here for a moment. So, this man is asking the Buddha, how is the gradual training in the Buddha's Dhamma Vinaya and the Buddha's religion? And the Buddha said, it is possible, Brahmin, to describe gradual training, gradual practice, and a gradual progress in this Dhamma Vinaya. Just as Brahmin, when a clever horse trainer obtains a fine thoroughbred colt, he first makes him get used to wearing the bit, and afterwards trains him further. So when the Tathagata obtains a person to be tamed, he first disciplines him thus. Come, monk, be virtuous, restrain with the restraint of the Patimokkha, be perfect in conduct and resort, and seeing fear in the slightest fault, train by undertaking the training precepts. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, when a person becomes a monk, the first thing, he must learn moral conduct. The Patimokkha refers to the precepts, 227 precepts of monk, and perfect in conduct and resort. Conduct is our how we conduct ourselves. Resort is where we go to. There are certain places, certain resorts a monk is not supposed to go. For example, a place where prostitutes stay, a place where a single woman lives, is not supposed to go. All these, if he goes to such place, people will suspect him of breaking the precepts. When Brahmin, the monk, is virtuous and seeing fear in the slightest fault, then the Tathagata disciplines him further. Come, monk, guard the doors of your sense faculties. On seeing a form with the eye, do not grasp at its signs and features, since if you were to leave the eye faculty unguarded, evil, unwholesome states of covetousness and grief might invade you. Practice the way of its restraint. Guard the eye faculty, undertake the restraint of the eye faculty. Similarly, on hearing a sound, smelling an odor, tasting a flavor, touching a tangible, cognizing a mind object, do not grasp at its signs and features, since if you were to leave the faculties unguarded, evil, unwholesome states might invade you. Practice the way of its restraint, guard the faculties, undertake the restraint of the faculties. So the second step here is to guard the six sense doors. If you see or hear anything, don't pay too much attention. Here it says, do not grasp at its signs and features. If you pay too much attention, then we are biting the bait that Mara has set up for us. When Brahmin, the monk, guards the doors of his sense faculties, then the Tathagata disciplines him further. Come, monk, be moderate in eating. Reflecting wisely, you should take food neither for amusement, nor for intoxication, nor for the sake of physical beauty and attractiveness, but only for the endurance and continuance of this body, for ending discomfort, and for assisting the holy life. Considering, thus I shall terminate all feelings without arising new feelings, and I shall be healthy and blameless, and shall live in comfort. I'll stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, the monk has to practice moderation in eating. That's why the Buddha's, in the monastic code, a monk is only allowed to eat in one part of the day, in the morning, after dawn, and before noon, when the sun is at the highest. And here he says, thus I shall terminate all feelings. This all feelings refers to feelings of hunger, without arousing new feelings of greed. You just take the food to get rid of hunger without allowing greed to arise. When Brahmin, the monk, is moderate in eating, then the Tathagata disciplines him further. Come, monk, be devoted to wakefulness. During the day, while walking back and forth and sitting, purify your mind of obstructive states. In the first watch of the night, that means 6 to 10 p.m. While walking back and forth and sitting, purify your mind of obstructive states. In the middle watch of the night, you should lie down on the right side, in the lion's posture, with one foot overlapping the other, mindful and fully aware. After noting in your mind the time for rising, this middle watch is from 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. After rising in the third watch of the night, while walking back and forth and sitting, purify your mind of obstructive states. This third watch is 2 to 6 a.m. So this devotion to wakefulness is to try to be wakeful, be awake as much as possible. So here the Buddha recommends only 4 hours of sleep. This is very difficult to do. You see here, if a monk wants to aim to practice this, then the whole day he should sit and walk. Sit and walk, and then even at night also sit and walk. The only time to lie down is the middle watch. When Brahmin, the monk, is devoted to wakefulness, then the Tathagata disciplines him further. Come, monk, be possessed of mindfulness and recollection. This one, mindfulness and recollection. Sati sampajanya. Act in full awareness when going forward and returning. Act in full awareness when looking ahead and looking away. Act in full awareness when flexing and extending your limbs. Act in full awareness when wearing your robes and carrying your outer robe and bowl. Act in full awareness when eating, drinking, consuming food and tasting. Act in full awareness when defecating and urinating. Act in full awareness when walking, standing, sitting, falling asleep, waking up, talking and keeping silent. When Brahmin, the monk, possesses mindfulness and recollection, then the Tathagata disciplines him further. Come, monk, resort to a secluded resting place, the forest or the root of a tree, a mountain, a ravine, a hillside cave, a channeled ground, a jungle thicket, an open space, or a heap of straw. He resorts to a secluded resting place. On returning from his alms round after his meal, he sits down, folding his legs crosswise, setting his body erect, and establishing mindfulness before him. Abandoning covetousness for the world, he abides with the mind free from covetousness. He purifies his mind from covetousness. Abandoning ill will and hatred, he abides with the mind free from ill will, compassionate for the welfare of all living beings. He purifies his mind from ill will and hatred. Abandoning sloth and torpor, he abides free from sloth and torpor, percipient of light, mindful and fully aware. He purifies his mind from sloth and torpor, abandoning restlessness and remorse. He abides unagitated with the mind inwardly peaceful. He purifies his mind from restlessness and remorse. Abandoning doubt, he abides having gone beyond doubt, unperplexed about wholesome states. He purifies his mind from doubt. I'll stop here for a moment. So here, this one, abandonment of the 5 hindrances. You can notice from this description here, when a person abandons sloth and torpor, he is percipient of light. This light wells up from within him, and after that, he finds that these 5 hindrances are eliminated. And with the elimination of the 5 hindrances, he notices that his anger comes down a lot, and also his lust comes down a lot. These two are very noticeable. Having abandoned these 5 hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weaken wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, he enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure born of seclusion. With the stilling of applied and sustained thought, he enters upon and abides in the second jhana, which has self-confidence and singleness of mind without applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure born of concentration. With the fading away as well of delight, he abides in equanimity, mindful and fully aware, still feeling pleasure with the body. He enters upon and abides in the third jhana, on account of which noble ones announce, he has a pleasant abiding, who has equanimity and is mindful. With the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous disappearance of joy and grief, he enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, and utter purity of sati, recollection, and equanimity. This is my instruction, Brahmin, to those monks who are in the higher training, whose minds have not yet attained to the goal, who abide aspiring to the supreme security from bondage. But these things conduce both to a pleasant abiding here and now, and to mindfulness and recollection for those monks who are arahants, with taints destroyed, who have lived the holy life, done what had to be done, laid down the burden, reached the true goal, destroyed the fetters of being, and are completely liberated through final knowledge. I'll stop here for a moment. So I was saying that this list of this gradual training is called charana in Pali, and that's translated as conduct or practice of the holy life. I mentioned before that this list in any one particular sutta is not complete, and I mentioned before that the complete list there are 10 items, but usually what is given in most suttas is only 7 items. So like here, what is missing? The first one is contentment. Contentment is not here. And then the 7 sadhamma, the 7 good things are also not here. So you notice this practice or conduct of the holy life ends with the 4 jhanas, and just like the Noble Eightfold Path, it is mentioned in another sutta which we will come to, Sutta 117. It is mentioned that the practice of the Noble Eightfold Path must go in a definite sequence. It must start with right view, and then the Buddha says, only when you have attained right view, you have entered the Noble Eightfold Path. And right view will bring you to right thoughts. And right thoughts will bring you to right speech, which will bring you to right action, and that will bring you to right livelihood, and that will bring you to right effort, and that will bring you to right recollection, and that will bring you to right concentration. So the Noble Eightfold Path also ends with right concentration, which is defined as the 4 jhanas. So here also it ends with the 4 jhanas. But when after a person has attained the 4 jhanas, then if we follow the footprints of the Buddha to enlightenment, that he has to attain the abhinyas, the higher knowledges. And out of the 6 higher knowledges, the 6 abhinyas, 5 of them have to do with psychic power. 5 5 of them, like the various types of psychic power called psychokinesis, and then the divine eye or heavenly eye, being able to see devas and devis and ghosts and all that, and then the heavenly ear, being able to hear, and then recollection of past lives, reading the minds of others and all that. So the 5 have to do with psychic power, but they are not so important as the last one. The last one is destruction of the 5 of the asavasa, destruction of the taints or uncontrolled mental outflows, which is basically the destruction of the flow of consciousness. Once the tendency of the consciousness to flow is destroyed, then when the Arahant dies, the consciousness does not flow anymore. It is the 6 consciousnesses that flow, that create the world. So with the 4 jhanas, and if that person has the 4 jhanas, and then he studies the Buddha's words, that is, you can consider that as the 7th factor of the Noble Eightfold Path, Sammasati, and that can also be said to be vipassana. Vipassana is not a meditation. Vipassana is contemplation, quan in Mandarin. So this knowledge of the suttas plus the 4 jhanas will bring one to enlightenment. When this was said, the Brahmin Ganaka Moggallana asked the Blessed One, when Master Gautama's disciples are thus advised and instructed by him, do they all attain Nibbana, the ultimate goal, or do some not attain it? When Brahmin, they are thus advised and instructed by me, some of my disciples attain Nibbana, the ultimate goal, and some do not attain it. Master Gautama, since Nibbana exists and the path leading to Nibbana exists, and Master Gautama is present as the guide, what is the cause and reason why, when Master Gautama's disciples are thus advised and instructed by him, some of them attain Nibbana, the ultimate goal, and some do not attain it? As to that, Brahmin, I will ask you a question in return. Answer it as you choose. What do you think, Brahmin? Are you familiar with the road leading to Rajagaha? Yes, Master Gautama, I am familiar with the road leading to Rajagaha. What do you think, Brahmin? Suppose a man came who wanted to go to Rajagaha, and he approached you and said, Venerable Sir, I want to go to Rajagaha. Show me the road to Rajagaha. Then you told him, now good man, this road goes to Rajagaha. Follow it for a while and you will see a certain village. Go a little further and you will see a certain town. Go a little further and you will see Rajagaha with its lovely parks, groves, meadows and ponds. Then having been thus advised and instructed by you, he would take a wrong road and would go to the west. Then a second man came who wanted to go to Rajagaha, and he approached you and said, Venerable Sir, I want to go to Rajagaha. Then you told him, now good man, this road goes to Rajagaha. Follow it and you will see Rajagaha with its lovely parks, groves, meadows and ponds. Then having been thus advised and instructed by you, he would arrive safely in Rajagaha. Now Brahmin, since Rajagaha exists and the path leading to Rajagaha exists, and you are present as a guide, what is the cause and reason why, when those men have been thus advised and instructed by you, one man takes a wrong road and goes to the west, and one arrives safely in Rajagaha? What can I do about that, Master Gautama? I am one who shows the way. So too, Brahmin, Nibbana exists, and the path leading to Nibbana exists, and I am present as the guide. Yet when my disciples have been thus advised and instructed by me, some of them attain Nibbana, the ultimate goal, and some do not attain it. What can I do about that, Brahmin? The Tathagata is one who shows the way. When this was said, the Brahmin Ganaka Moggallana said to the Blessed One, there are persons who are faithless and have gone forth from the home life into homelessness, not out of faith, but seeking a livelihood, who are fraudulent, deceitful, treacherous, haughty, hollow, personally vain, rough-tongued, loose-spoken, unguarded in their sense faculties, immoderate in eating, undevoted to wakefulness, unconcerned with recluseship, not greatly respectful of training, luxurious, careless, leaders in backsliding, neglectful of seclusion, lazy, wanting in energy, unmindful, not fully aware, unconcentrated, with straying minds, devoid of wisdom, drivelers. Master Gautama does not dwell together with these, but there are clansmen who have gone forth out of faith from the home life into homelessness, who are not fraudulent, deceitful, treacherous, haughty, hollow, personally vain, rough-tongued and loose-spoken, who are guarded in their sense faculties, moderate in eating, devoted to wakefulness, concerned with recluseship, greatly respectful of training, not luxurious or careless, who are keen to avoid backsliding, leaders in seclusion, energetic, resolute, established in mindfulness, fully aware, concentrated, with unified minds, possessing wisdom, not drivelers. Master Gautama dwells together with these. Just as black orris root is reckoned as the best of root perfumes, and red sandalwood is reckoned as the best of wood perfumes, and jasmine is reckoned as the best of flower perfumes, so too Master Gautama's advice is supreme among the teachings of today. Magnificent Master Gautama, magnificent Master Gautama. Master Gautama has made the Dhamma clear in many ways, as though he were turning upright what had been overturned, revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up a lamp in the dark for those with eyesight to see forms. I go to Master Gautama for refuge, and to the Dhamma, and to the Sangha of monks. Let Master Gautama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge for life. That's the end of the sutta. So here, this description about fraud monks, what the Buddha calls fraud monks, the monks who go forth for the sake of a livelihood. They are haughty, vain, loose-spoken, unguarded in their sense faculties, immoderate in eating, undevoted to wakefulness, unconcerned with recluseship, not interested in the training, careless, neglectful of seclusion, lazy, unmindful, unconcentrated. So those are fraud monks. There's a lot of fraud monks nowadays. So this sutta is another one of those that gives a list of charana, the gradual training of a monk. So it's very clear from here how a monk is supposed to live the holy life, train in this gradual training. Okay, we stop here for tonight. Anything to discuss? Okay, shall we end here? There's nothing.